Hey, this channel and its videos are intended for adults only and not for children. No kids allowed. Hey, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Today we are playing, by the way, the channel is Mikey's Video Game Madness. Although I would like to do non-video game related videos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Today we are playing Forza Horizon 3 on the Xbox One X. The differences between the Xbox One X edition, I think it just runs on native 4K, which you won't see because I have no way to record in 4K. My monitor can't display 4K. Like, I have 4K televisions, but I'll be damned if I hooked up my computer to the television. It's just boundaries, man. Not to have anything against the PC, but like, to me, like, PC's not for gaming, it's work. Maybe that'll change in the future, I don't know. I did PC game at one time, a long time ago, around the time BioShock and like Crysis came out, and I think Half-Life 2 is what really got me into gaming, the original Call of Duty. But today we're playing Forza Horizon. I think the only difference is it's in 4K on the Xbox One X edition. It's a beautiful game. It was one of the first games I remember to actually support HDR. I don't know if it has the best implementation of HDR. I think it shows best at night, but I think sometimes during the day it's a little off. Although I will say, like, the colors and everything pop. But again, that's something that you would have to explore on your own. We're just playing it at 1080p. I think there's some, I don't know what Xbox calls it, but since I'm playing in 1080p on the Xbox One X, it's doing some sort of super sampling, so that I guess the textures and the anti-aliasing is going to be better than the standard version. But since YouTube's gonna bastardize my video, you won't see any of that. I'm just gonna say it up front, I am a terrible driver in driving games. I'm not good at driving games at all. I don't really like, this sounds weird, I don't really like driving games for the racing. I like driving games for the cruising and exploring. I think I like Forza Horizon 3 more than, I'm trying to figure out the controls right now. I think I like, sorry, you'll have to bear with me too. Like, I have allergies. I took some expired Flonase because, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. So far it hasn't killed me. Today's day 2, so hopefully the second dose will kick in. Usually it takes like 2 days. I went to the grocery store and I forgot to get allergy medicine, and I also drank a cup of coffee. And since I'm so stressed out, like, I took some, because when I get stressed out, my stomach like really bothers me and stuff like that, and reflux gets worse and stomach pain, stuff like that. It's not because of the virus, it's because, like, it's almost like I get a virus when I get stressed out. Like, it's almost like you have the symptoms. So the mind is so powerful, it does physically affect you. And I'm trying to do my best to combat it with a state of mind. But, like, with everything being shoved down your throat. And it's partially my fault because I keep up with the updates and stuff like that. Because I feel like normally I don't keep up with the news or anything or YouTube or any information or doctors or stuff like that, like through the media and stuff like that. But I feel like right now during this time it's the responsible thing to do so this thing doesn't escalate to the point where it's like as bad as it is in Italy. Like, honestly, this whole thing depends on us more than the supplies, the cure, and everything else. Like, if we literally like follow the rules and take this shit seriously, which a lot of us are, a huge issue is ignorant people in general, which I had the misfortune of dealing with at the grocery store yesterday. I was a nervous wreck. I was holding my breath trying to avoid people, and nobody gave a damn if they were in your way. They were talking in your space. They didn't keep that distance. If they saw that you were turning away from them, they were like offended, like you had like some personal vendetta against them. And then there's these fucking selfish younger fucking millennials. Like, I'm a millennial too, so I'm entitled to bitch about them. But it's weird, like the age gap is so wide with millennials. Like, you can be a millennial if you were born in 1981. That being said, like, some of whom are considered millennials, and I feel like it's more like the next generation, whatever you would call that, like Generation Z, I think they might call it. Like, I don't know, they went to like millennials and then Generation Z, I think, which is really weird. Like, shouldn't we technically be Generation Z since we're not Generation X? I don't know. But anyway, like, I was basically graduating. I was like these people's age, like going to college and stuff like that, when they were like toddlers and little kids. So like, it's a completely different age group and mindset, and like, I cannot believe these people are going to spring break sharing food and all this shit, and it's fucking crazy and selfish. And even if they like get healthy and get better or whatever, they're like could potentially be affecting like all these people. And that's been part of the problem of some of these countries that got hit worse. Like, a lot of the younger people haven't gave a shit, and they just went out and did their daily lives, and the whole time they're like affecting people because you don't show symptoms for up to 14 days. Typically it's 5, but 14 days, and then I believe it's really 12, but then they added an extra 2 just to be safe. Like, you don't even show symptoms then, but you're still like contagious. It's just fucked up. Anyway, so I took some CBD oil or whatever, so hopefully that'll help. And then, I don't know, I probably shouldn't be drinking caffeine, but I don't want the caffeine headaches. Like, I've been lowering the intake, but I drank coffee. I forgot to add water to the coffee machine, so it wasn't even like a full cup. And I turned the power off before I saw the water light on, and then I noticed my cup wasn't full all the way. I have like one of those cups that I think you saw in the video. It's like an Overwatch cup, but it was like really cheap. But it's like one of those thermal cups. Like, don't put it in the dishwasher if you have one. Hand wash only. Important safety tip from Mikey's Video Game Madness. But I like enjoy like the cups with the thermal design on them, because you know the coffee's drinkable like when the top of the image fades a little bit. Anyway, back to the game. I drive horribly in these driving games. I like to drive to cruise. I like Forza Horizon 3 more. I think, than 4, even though 4 is probably technically a better game. The seasons are really cool, and 4, I have 4, I'll probably do 4 at some point. I don't know when, I don't like to make promises, but I just like the environment and cruising through it more. I know nothing about cars, I'm terrible at driving games. It's a standard quo for a Forza game, like you can control it to be more like a sim, like and make it more realistic, or you can make it stupid like I did, where like you actually have a chance if you're terrible and you play the game like it's destruction derby, which I do. Part of my issue also is that I am typically a PlayStation 4 player, and the range of analog and sensitivity and stuff like that, especially if you haven't played the Xbox in months. Like, I don't know why I've been on somewhat of an Xbox kick, but I just picked up Doom, so that'll probably be like my focus. I was like playing Gears 5, which seems to be a really cool game, but I don't know. Doom just speaks to my heart. Although that game seems super sensitive. Like, I don't know how I didn't even beat it on the easiest mode. I beat it on the default mode, which I know, like, you masochists out there that like your game's super difficult, like, probably thinks that's your joke. One of the benefits of playing online is that you get all these custom designs. This game does not require an online connection if that's a concern for you, but there are benefits like the custom designs and stuff like that. But like, yeah, like when you don't play a system for a long time, like the range of the analog sticks is like way different than it is on like another system, like the dead zones and all that stuff. So I'm still getting back to getting used to playing the analog sticks. I don't have, like, I was talking on, I think, the Gears 5 video. I don't have a ton of Xbox One games. I was about to call Xbox One X, but they're technically Xbox One games. They just run on the Xbox One X. I could literally probably finish like my whole library. Like, I only collect the exclusives are if I like can't find the game on PlayStation 4. For instance, while back, I don't know why it was so cheap. I think it was because EA was getting like a bad rap at the time for Star Wars Battlefront and the Need for Speed before it that apparently required microtransactions, but I enjoyed both games, honestly. Like, I think it was like Need for Speed High Stakes. I don't remember what it was called. Whatever one came before Heat. And then Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't mind grinding or whatever you would call it. I didn't feel like there was like an unfair advantage. But whatever the case, it got bad press, and I think it hurt the sales of Need for Speed Heat, and I got it like it was like a brand new game. Like Forza Horizon 4 though too, they did it. I don't know, Target has like random sales, especially for the Xbox One X for whatever reason. Like a lot of times they'll like, even though the game's brand new, like it'll be like $20 cheaper like within like a few weeks. But anyway, all the PlayStation copies were like sold out of Need for Speed Heat, so I have that for the Xbox One because I couldn't find the PlayStation 4 version that was at a sale price at the time. And I don't really care like if I'm getting a sale on EA. Like, EA has a ton of money, they'll be fine if I take advantage of a sale, and they're still getting the money because it's not like I bought the game used. But yeah, Forza, I really like this series. I I didn't like driving games for the longest time. They were up there with sports games. The only games that I remember playing back in the day that I really enjoyed. This is really old. I remember I loved playing Outrun and Pole Position in the arcade. And then when I got a Sega Genesis, sorry, the reflux is kind of bad right now because of the coffee. But and then the allergies. I'm hoping like when I take like the next dose, that'll be like the dose that like kicks in fully. But I do feel better than I did before when I was desperate to take the dose, but that's what the choking's from, and I apologize. And I was fine until I started making a video, like I guess like talking and stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, and if you don't believe me, like you can go back and watch an old video and hear me like choke my ass off. But before all this virus shit started. But anyway, so like when I had a Sega Genesis, there was Road Rash. That was awesome. And then I got a PlayStation, and that got me into driving games a little bit. Need for Speed 3 came out. That was pretty cool. That was the first game I remember that had like police and you had to try to drive away from them, and that in itself was fun. Like it was never about the racing. My favorite racing game of all time is always going to be Ridge Racer Type 4. That came out. I loved it. And that game was more about, that won me over about that is, first of all, at the time, it was gorgeous. Like, in my opinion, that's like the best looking racing game. Beside maybe, I think like that and Gran Turismo 2. But I always prefer the arcade racing games. But anyway, I played that game, and that game to me that I enjoyed was more about the technique of drifting. I really enjoyed like mastering that. Like if I played it now, I'd probably be terrible. But like when I had it back in the day and I was like playing it on a regular basis, which was really weird feeling for me because I never really played racing games. Beside like Road Rash, but those really, I don't even know what Road Rash would like qualify as, but I really wish they'd bring that series back. I know they have had clones, but I haven't played them personally. They haven't had the best rep, and I haven't really seen it to like pick it up and try it at a reasonable trying price. Like it's hard for me to justify $60 on a trial run. Like maybe if they came out with a demo, but I don't know. I would love EA to officially bring back Road Rash though. A lot of people give shit about Road Rash 3D and Jailbreak, but I even like those games. Like I think Road Rash 2 is my favorite one. That's the most refined one in my opinion. There was like one on the Sega CD that was kind of like a bastardized version of the 3DO and PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn version, which is all the same port. That one was pretty fun too. Road Rash 3 was pretty cool, but they used like digitalized sprites. I don't know, like it just didn't seem to run as fluid. But anyway, so I got that. Gran Turismo, that was more like, it was pretty, but I didn't like it because I don't know, it just felt like I didn't like the license tests and stuff like that, and it just it was boring to me. I tried like all the games on the PlayStation 4. The later Need for Speed games seemed cool, but I don't know. I never put my money into it. So, long story short, I quit playing like racing games pretty much altogether. I didn't like the sequels as much to Ridge Racer. They all control differently. They're almost like every single entry in the series is almost like a different game. Kart racing games are fun, but they're not racing games. But I didn't really get into racing games until I got an Xbox 360, and it came with Forza 4 Essentials Edition, which is basically like just part of the game, but enough to give you a taste of it. It has more than like your average racing game does, and I don't know why. Like the controls, the sound, the weight of the cars, the fact that I could bastardize the game to play like an arcade game. I really liked it, but there's something about it that really like whet my appetite to be like, what other racing games are out there? And most of them that I tried, I didn't care for until I found I started playing the Need for Speed series, which I hadn't played since. I think I played a demo of like one of the Need for Speed. I don't even know what they were called back then. Like the ones that came out roughly around the time of. No, that was even before that. I can't think what they were called, but I'll think of it offhand. But the ones that you could really like customize the cars and the rims, it was all about customization and driving in the streets and stuff like that. And it was all neon and it looked really nice and everything. Those seemed cool, but like at the time I was more into shooters and RPGs, and I just couldn't be bothered. I had more of a social life back then, so games weren't really like as much as a hobby as they are as I've become more isolated in my older years. But yeah, like I just didn't get into it. But anyway, the Forza Horizon 4 whet my appetite. Then I ended up somehow coming across Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, and you could put custom soundtracks in it, and I absolutely adored it. Not for the racing, but because I could drive around and listen to my music, and if I wanted to, I could race. I just got a Dodge Dart. Like my dad actually drove a Dodge Dart when I was a kid. It was like used and old, like it had this weird golden green color, at least to my eyes. I don't know. Like it looked like it was the color of copper to me. And we didn't have AC in it, and our backs stuck to the seat. So getting a Dodge Dart is kind of nostalgic to me. Anyway, but playing that and driving around the music, and then Most Wanted came out. I didn't like that one as much because the streets were more close together and you were more prone to wrecking, and I liked it because it was like Burnout because the wrecks were like really crazy. But I just really loved driving around the city and chilling and listening to music, which you could do in like Grand Theft Auto or whatever. But I don't know, like having the custom soundtracks, and I had quite a few. Like I could filled up like a good chunk of my hard drive on my PS3 with music. And then Rivals came out, which was fun to cruise around, but the PlayStation 4 doesn't take CDs, so you can listen to music. But that really won me over. I didn't really ever play the first Forza Horizon. I played a demo of it. I don't know if I liked the environment more, so it didn't speak to me because of the racing element isn't as important. I know that's most people's favorite game. I did play Forza Horizon 2, but again, the environment didn't speak to me as much. I just really like this one with the jungles and stuff like that. 4 is cool because of the seasons, but if it didn't have the seasons, like, I don't think I would be as interesting. I love how bright it gets in the summer in that game, and like fall and then winter, like the lakes freeze over and you actually can drive over them. Like, it makes the whole world dynamic, and that's really cool. And when I play that game, I'll talk about that one more, but it's just really fun to play this game and drive around. I'm sure you can add custom soundtracks. Like, the music, I guess because I'm getting older, and these games don't speak to me as much. Like, I used to love the music, like, and like the, I don't know, especially the PlayStation 1 Road Rash, the first one, not so much the second one, but, and then some of the earlier Need for Speed games had really good music, and the Tony Hawk games did. I just think it's a generational difference where, like, I'm just older and my tastes are different than what's popular, and obviously they're trying to sell a game, so they're gonna add like whatever's the most popular current music. It does creep me out that my GPS calls me by my name. I don't know why. It's like Skynet's taken over Forza Horizon 3. But it's a fun game. If you're terrible at racing games, I think you can get enjoyment. You could probably add custom soundtracks to this, but I don't mind. Like, it's fun just to cruise around and look around Australia. Like, I don't have the DLC. Apparently there's like a Hot Wheels DLC and a Snowy DLC, but honestly, like, my favorite parts of this game are driving through like the rainforest, and then like driving on the side of the beach, and you have like the ships on the shore. Like, that's my favorite thing. You can buy your cars with real money, I suppose, but it seems fairly simple enough to get at least decent cars. I'm not a car person, so I don't know. There might be like some alluring car that's like some obtainable amount, but I usually can afford the cars that I want. Although this is the first one that I got, but I looked at the other cars and I could afford them. But I would highly recommend this game if you have a Xbox One. Beside the multi-platform games, like the exclusives on the Xbox One, pretty good, and Forza Horizon in particular is probably the best game. I don't really care for the future Forza Sims games, but I'm not a car guy. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. All of you stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.